Lesson 3. This is our final lesson in the Create Performance task, and then you will be completing the task. First, we're going to read pages 12 through 13 from the performance task, preparing for the performance task. This is a general checklist of things that you should do to prepare for the AP performance task. Let's see how we did in our preparations over the last couple of lessons. You might want to identify anything we haven't done or things that you think we haven't done. Prior to beginning the task, you should obtain content knowledge and skills that will help you succeed on the performance task. This can include, but needs not be limited to, the iterative development process, strategies for collaboration, the development of both data and procedural abstractions, and describing an algorithm's purpose and explaining how it functions. A development process includes exploration, investigation, reflection, design, implementation, and testing your program. We've done that. Each one of the lessons where you learned a new programming, a new aspect of the programming language, we did that, okay? We have tested, reflected, designed, and implemented all of those things. We have reviewed the performance task directions and guidelines over the last 2 periods. Brainstorm problems that programming can address, or brainstorm special interests that programming can help develop. Again, that's something that you were assigned to do, that you were asked to do as a group over the last couple of days. As needed, seek assistance from your teacher or AP coordinator on defining your focus and choice of topics. Example, asking questions. You're more than welcome to ask me questions about defining the focus. I can't tell you what to do. I can help you narrow something down. Be prepared to collaborate with your peers as necessary. Practice and discuss the entire performance task or individual prompts of the task. Review the role your teacher can and cannot play in providing assistance during the actual performance task, and take advantage of the opportunity to get assistance and feedback from your teacher during the practice. You were supposed to, up through today, when we were doing all of those other tasks, all the tests, all the quizzes, all the coding, all the explorations online, those are the times when you need to ask questions, get that help. Review the scoring guidelines to understand how your work will be assessed. The scoring guidelines align to the prompts in the performance task, so you must respond to all the prompts in your attempt to obtain the highest possible score. The scoring of practice performance tasks, such as those assigned via AP Classroom, may differ from scoring of the performance task for the exam. In other words, some of the things that we did in the make projects and such might not correlate exactly 100% to this, but they are very similar. Ensure you know the proper way to cite media or program code, including APIs or other pieces of open source code used in the creation of your program. Any media or program code that has not been written by you must be cited, and credit must be given to the author. Please do this. Failing to do this, even on a teeny tiny part of it, will result in the entire project receiving a 0. Understand the level of detail expected in writing your responses by reviewing examples of performance task submissions at high, medium, and low levels according to the scoring guidelines. We did that in our previous lesson. Examples of responses can be found in the AP Computer Science Principles exam page. You can also find them on the code.org, the ones that I gave to you. If you submit a program that has been used as an example or was discussed in class, you must submit original responses to avoid plagiarism. You cannot submit any work from AP Central samples or practice performance tasks for your final submission. Be aware that the scoring process that occurs in the AP reading may be different from the scoring process that occurs in your classroom. It's really important. The AP score that you receive may be different than your classroom grade. I'm not necessarily going to grade these because it's hard to walk around and do this as I would if we were all together in school all the time. So right now I'm not planning to grade these. I may, in different years, maybe grading portions, but I can't grade anything until after your final submission. And again, your grade may be different. Realize that when the graders are grading your submission, there's a group sitting around a table, and some of them may say, no, I don't think this person deserves a point for this, and somebody else might argue, for a point for you, and they discuss and debate. Now, not at length, but there is some discussion and debate for those that are in what we would say a gray area. Realize that if you submit something in this classroom, you do not have, nor do I have, the luxury of multiple people reading these things and discussing the merits of a point here and a point there. You should read through the AP Digital Portfolio file submission requirements and processes, paying attention to the instructions concerning the file type, size, and length to be uploaded. This is important to ensure that work is sent for AP scoring. This process includes uploading your files to the correct part of the task, submitting your work as final, completing the College Board attestations to the originality of your work. Practice creating a video of your program running while adhering to the file type, size, and length requirements. Practice creating a PDF file of your program code to submit for the performance task. With text-based program code, you can use the print command to save your program code as a PDF file, or you can copy and paste your code to a text document and then convert it to a PDF file. With block-based program code, you can create screen captures that include only your program code, paste these images into a document, and then convert to a PDF. Screen captures should not be blurry, and text should be at least 10-point font size. Understand that you may not revise your work once you have submitted it as final to the AP Digital Portfolio. Really important. I can't do anything for you. The only thing I can do is if I realize that you have inadvertently submitted your video to your response section or the response section to your video section, etc., I can undo it. I have to write an explanation of why I'm undoing it, and then you resubmit it. But once you have submitted something, it's done. So make sure that you are truly ready to submit. Now, next we're going to read page 11, the policy on plagiarism. The use of media, example video, images, sound, data, information, evidence, or program code created by someone else in the creation of a program and or a program code segment or segments without appropriate acknowledgement, i.e. through citation, through attribution, and or by reference, is considered plagiarism. A student who commits plagiarism will receive a score of 0 on the performance task. Not just on a portion of it, on the whole thing. To the best of their ability, teachers will ensure that students understand how to ethically use and acknowledge the ideas and work of others, as well as the consequences of plagiarism. The student's individual voice should be clearly evident, and the ideas of others must be acknowledged, attributed, and or cited. During the final submission and the process in the AP Digital Portfolio, students will be asked to attest that they have followed the performance task guidelines and have not plagiarized their submission. If they have reasonable cause to suspect plagiarism, they will give you a 0. Okay? If they find your work somewhere else, if you write your responses and one of your responses sounds wildly different than the others, it's just not the same voice, those are causes for question and concern by the College Board, and they will bring it up. Okay? There have been people who have received 0s because of plagiarism. Now, one thing I will tell you, when in doubt, cite something. If you think if it is not 100% your creation, give credit to whomever created it. If you use a library that someone else created, you need to include the comments citing this source as code you yourself did not write. If using images, media, or other copyrighted material found on the web, you should cite those sources and comments in your program code, usually at the top, something like, the images used in this app came from 1. Bird image, http, name of site.com, path to the image.jpg, flower image, and again, just the link. You have to give credit to all images, any code, anything that you did not yourself create, cite it. Now, we're going to look at and read pages 14 through 15, completing the Create Performance task. Note, what kinds of things can your teacher help you with as you listen to this and or read through it with me? You must submit your performance task prior to the submission deadline, which can be found on the AP Computer Science Principles exam page on AP Central. Follow a calendar or schedule that provides time for all performance task components to be completed and uploaded in advance of the deadline. Read the performance task directions and rubric. Apply the computer science knowledge you have obtained throughout the course, and when completing the performance task, to your responses to the prompts in the performance task. Use acceptable acknowledgement practices when using media, i.e. images, videos, sound, data sources, or other program code created by others in your program code to avoid plagiarism. Any media or data source that have not been created by you or your partner or partners must be acknowledged, and credit must be given to the author. Any program code which has not been written by you, including the use of APIs and open source code, should be acknowledged, and credit should be given to the author. Realize that if you are working with a partner, you want to be careful because you got to make sure that your responses are 100% your own. You cannot discuss your responses at all. Add comments to your program code to clarify the functionality of program code segments or to acknowledge and credit authors of media, data sources, or program code. If the programming environment allows you to include comments, this is the preferred way to acknowledge and give credit to another author. If the programming environment does not allow you to include comments, you can add them in a document editor when you capture your program code for submission. Once you've started your official administration of the performance task, you may not seek assistance in writing, revising, amending, or correcting your work, including debugging the program, writing or designing functionality in the program, testing the program, or making revisions to the program from anyone other than your collaborative partners. That includes me. You may not submit practice performance tasks or any work that has been revised, amended, or corrected by another individual other than your collaborative partners or cited program code as submission for the exam scoring. You may not seek answers or provide feedback on answers to prompts. No one can proofread your stuff. This is something you have to do on your own. No one should be proofreading it. Revise your work once you have completed. You may not revise your work once you've completed and submitted it as final to the digital portfolio. You can submit it and it's not final. Once you hit final, you're done. Once you have started your official administration, you may collaborate with your partner or partners only during the ideation, development, including error testing of your program code if you choose to do so. Note, you are not allowed to collaborate on your video or individual written responses. Those must be done by yourself. Follow a timeline and schedule for completing the performance task. You may seek assistance from your teacher or AP coordinator on the formation of groups and resolution of collaboration issues when one collaborative partner is clearly and directly impeding the completion of the performance task. You may seek clarification from your teacher or AP coordinator on the prompts and submission requirements for the performance task when you do not understand the directions. You may work on the performance task outside of the designated class time. You may seek assistance from your teacher or AP coordinator to resolve technical problems that impede work, such as a failing workstation or difficulty with access to networks, or to help with saving files or making movie files. You may keep a programming journal of the design choices that were made during the development of the program code or code segment and the effect of these decisions on the program's function. You can use this journal as a point of reference when responding to writing prompts. Okay, notice, please understand, your instructor can do nothing other than clarify directions, help you with basic technical issues, not technical issues with your code not working, technical issues with your computer. And in that realm, I would then send it on to our IT people. I can help you out with a lot of stuff on the basic saving files, which you should be able to do. Making movie files. There's ways. You guys are probably much more adept at making movies than I am, because you can just use your phone. I cannot help you write, debug, design your code. Now, take out your Create Performance Task timeline and review it. You should ask any remaining questions, review the overall timeline of the task. The official performance task time is about to start. Are you ready? Remember that when you submit the Create Performance task, you are encouraged to submit and save work in the AP Digital Portfolio as you go. Do not hit Final Submit until you're done. Before submitting Final, check the Survival Guide checklist to make sure you met all of the requirements. Make sure you have all 3 components finished. Don't submit anything until everything is finished. At the end of the task administration, once we're all done with all our days, on our last day, I will ask you to submit the 3 items: the video, the written responses, and the program code. You will have your 12 hours in class. You may need time out of class to finish things up. If you do, you need to make sure that you're taking that time outside of class. If you use your time wisely, you should be able to do most of it in class. Go. Complete the Create Performance task. Note, you can find resources for completing the task on Code Studio. You can also look at AP Central. Good luck.